most small poultry farmers stay broke. They do the hard work, they work day and night, but at the end of the month, they are still struggling to pay their bills. You may think the problem is actually the effort, but what if I told you that your problem is not about how hard these farmers work, but the way they manage the farm money? So in today's live, I intend to share with you what the real problem is so that we are able to fix it, and at the end of the day, the farm is able to pay itself, but also pay us too, the small farmers. Well, welcome to today's live, and I intend to use the first 15 minutes to share my opinion about the topic of why most small poultry farmers remain broke despite the hard work, despite the savings they are putting, why they stay broke. So I intend to use the first 15 minutes for giving my opinion, and then the rest of the 15 minutes I intend to hear from you, your opinion regarding that topic. Truth is, most poultry farmers, they put in their hard work, they work day and night, they put in their savings, and but at the end of the day, they are broke. They can't even afford to pay their bills. But the real problem is actually how they manage their finances. There is a big problem of mismanaging the finances amongst small poultry farmers. How does that even happen? It happens, the experts call it blurring the lines. They tend to blur the lines between personal expenses and farm expenses. You find that someone is using the farm money to pay for fees, to pay for groceries, even for treats. And before you know it, the farm is not growing. Let's take an example. Let's use this analogy. Let's imagine you have a car. That car is actually your small farm. And the fuel that you're going to use to run this car, it's actually the farm money. Imagine you siphon the money for the fuel for other things, for let's say groceries. Will you be able to drive your car? You won't be able to drive this car. That is the same thing that happens to farms. If you divert the money which is supposed to be for the farm and you use it for other things, trust me, before you know it, your farm is not growing, you're making losses, the feeds come in late, and before you know it, you have closed the farm. Or you are stagnant, you're just there. The eggs are coming in, the chickens are being sold, and before you know it, there is no money at the end of the month. So where is the problem? It's how you do this small wrong mixing of the money. So how can you fix this? How do you fix this problem? It's very rare to find that a big farm, which started like, let's say, 10,000 birds, is not thriving. You know why? I mean, you may be leaving even your thoughts in the comments, in the chat box below. But those big farms are thriving. For number one, they have a separate account. So where you want to start, if you want to fix this problem, start by separating accounts. Have your personal accounts and then the farm accounts. These two should be very, very different. How does this help? This is going to help you by with quantifying the expenses, because at the end of the day, what happens is that when we are starting out these farms, we small scale farmers, what we are doing is actually we are getting into our pockets and we are spending money on this farm. It means we are depending on our small money to start these farms. So when the profits start to come in, there is a likelihood that you're not going to find it any difficult to use the money from the farm for personal uses, maybe for fees or other things. You know why? Because you used to getting the money from the pocket and injecting into the farm. So if the money is now coming from the farm, It's easy to use it for personal issues. That trap, that bootstrap, it's what is killing most of the farms. So if you want to stop this cycle, you have a separate account. It's difficult to have a separate account because it's a small farm. Let's say you started, let's say, with 100 broilers. It's going to be, it won't even cross your mind that you need a separate account for your farm. That's why you're going to be, you end up mixing money everywhere. You throw the money for the grocery, the kids' playground money and all that. You're going to mix things up, because when you have a small farm, you do not even think that it's really important to have a separate account for this farm. So if you're a small farmer out there and you want to grow, because at the end of the day, if the money start to come in, all you need to do is actually to invest, something which I'll talk about later on in my discussion. So make sure you have created a separate account that will help you to track the expenses, the real farm expenses, and you'll be able not to mix them with the personal expenses. Real farm expenses, we have those ones that are continuous, like for the feeds. We have those ones for buying the, for buying the chicks and other expenses. So once the money has come in, you have made your sales, whether you're raising broilers and you have made a sale at the end of the month, the batch, keep that money, deposit that money on that account. And then if you're selling eggs daily or weekly, you also have that money and you are depositing it on that account. That is going to help you to break this cycle of bootstrapping, getting the money and mixing it in the wrong way. And at the end of the day, you're going to, you'll be stagnant. Your farm is going to be stagnant. I have faced this. I'm speaking this from experience. They tell us that layers, they ensure continuous, income flow, cash flow. And that's where the trap actually is if you're a small farmer. That continuous cash flow, you're most likely to divert it for other uses. Because it's there, the money is coming, you're selling 1 tray, 2 trays, 5 trays. So you're most likely, if you're not financially disciplined, you're going to misuse that money for other things. So create a separate account. The other thing is actually pay yourself a fixed salary. Now, this is something very, very serious, and I think I've ever mentioned it in one of my videos, that paying yourself is very, very important. At the end of the day, especially for those of us who are not doing anything else other than poultry farming, you need to pay yourself. And how are you going to pay yourself? If you have created separate accounts for your farm and then for your personal expenses, it means now you know how much has come in. You'll be able to actually get some percentage from that money to pay yourself, because you need to live as well. You need to live as well. Even if it's a small percentage, just make sure you are paying yourself. This will satisfy you, and this is actually going to help you treat poultry farming as a real job, as a real business. Pay yourself. This way you will not be greedy, or you'll be disciplined enough to actually separate the money. And how are you going to pay yourself? Some experts suggest a practical way how you can do it. For example, if you raise the 100 broilers and you are selling them at the end of the month, that's 4 weeks. And on each bird, you're getting, let's say, 3,000 Ugandan shillings. So what they say is that on that net profit that you have got after you have deducted all the expenses and all that, the net profit that you get, split it into a half. After splitting it into a half, you pay a half to yourself, pay a half to yourself, and then the other half goes back into business. This brings me to my next point of reinvesting. Reinvesting. We are talking about mismanagement of finances on the farm, which makes us small poultry farmers stay stagnant. Reinvest. Now that you have paid yourself, the next thing you want to do is to reinvest. let's imagine you have started with 100 broilers on your first cycle. And on those 100 broilers, you have made a difference or a profit of 800,000 Ghana shillings. And on that 800 Ugandan shillings, maybe you choose to pay yourself. So whatever is left of that money, you reinvest it. That means in the next cycle, you are actually not going to do the same number of birds. You're going to raise maybe a bit more, let's say 150 broilers in the next cycle. So a year has about 4 to 5 cycles. So can you see how much your business is going to grow if you keep reinvesting? What we fail to do as small poultry farmers is we do not reinvest. Why? Because we don't know where the money is. The money has disappeared. It has disappeared into groceries. It has disappeared into school fees, into gas for the cars. So if we do not have the financial discipline of actually having separate accounts and then paying ourselves, but also thinking of reinvesting and growing big, trust me, we are going to remain broke as small poultry farmers. The next thing I want to talk about is avoid dipping into your capital. This is a very important message to us small poultry farmers. Of course, I'm talking to you, but to myself as well, because these are lessons I'm learning the hard way. You know, we keep learning. When you're doing poultry farming, you keep learning from others. And of course, we do not stop learning, educating ourselves about financial literacy. So avoid dipping into the capital. How do you avoid dipping into the capital? Of course, those ways we have talked about. This has to do with breaking even. When you're doing broilers, let's say, I'm talking about broilers because this is something quick which happens in 4 weeks and you're done with it. So if you're doing broilers and you have invested in, if you are doing 100 birds, let's give an example. It means it might require you 1.5, between 1.5 to 2.5, depending on how much you're raising, on other factors, where you're raising from, the cost of everything. So we have the fixed capital, we have the infrastructures, the equipment, and other things. And then we have this working capital, the chicks, the feeds, and all that. So we assume you are going to break even, or you're going to get out, you're going to recoup your investment in 2 cycles. You cannot recoup your investment in the first cycle. That won't be possible. However, you get the money that you invested in, starting from the chicks and then the feeds and those other expenses. But the entire investment, you will get it back in 2 cycles. So that means you have your capital, you have recouped your capital. So do not make a mistake, not even at any point, unless life has really squeezed you onto the wall, but never dip into your capital. You can, if it's really bad, you can dig into the profits, but the capital, kindly do not, because if you have the capital, it means you can still stay in business, and then maybe in the next cycle you get the profit. So work as much as you can to make sure you do not dip into the capital. This brings me to my next tip when it comes to how we can actually break this cycle of why we small poultry farmers do not grow or we remain broke. The other issue is about marketing smarter and not harder. When you are a small poultry farmer, you are at a very big disadvantage, because the profit margins are really small. They are really small, and you have to find ways of actually making them a bit bigger. For example, if you're doing 100 broilers, you're most likely to get something like 400,000. Did I say 400,000 as net profit, right? So this is small money, but actually you can make it bigger. Sorry, I think that 400,000, maybe for broilers, for layers. I'm mixing up things, I guess. But the point is, if you are a small poultry farmer, the profit margins are very, 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 very small. So you have to be creative with how you market your products. If the products are here, they have come, how best do you market them so that you can actually make a bigger profit from these products? Let's say you are selling, you are raising broilers, or you're raising dual purpose birds, what we call the local birds. Instead of selling them to these traders, these businessmen who come to you, sell them to the final consumer. That way you'll be able to dictate the price of your products. You just have to be creative. Use digital way of marketing. Create WhatsApp groups, create TikTok accounts, use YouTube, so that you can actually dictate. If a customer comes from my account, on my YouTube account, and is looking for chickens or eggs, trust me, I have the liberty of charging them however much I want. Unlike these traders who come to you with, also the purpose of making a profit. With the reason of making a profit. It's very difficult. Some people actually go ahead to, label their eggs. They will, these are cage-free eggs, these are organic eggs, but these are all branding, strategies. There's nothing so special about those eggs, but it's just a branding strategy. They want to make at least extra cash on these products. So in this era we are in, make sure you actually make some more profit off the products that you are selling on your farm. And once you have made this profit, make sure you reinvest. So to recap on what we are talking about this tonight, we are talking about one of the biggest problem or the challenge which keeps we small poultry farmers really broke. And I've been saying these tips from experience. I'm a farmer as well. So number one thing you have to do is manage your finances properly. And how do you manage your finances properly? Create a separate account. Go to those banks, create that separate account. Don't trust yourself with money. I don't know how many of you trust yourselves with money, but me, I don't trust myself with money. I need an account. And I think these banks came for a reason. So create a separate account so that every financial dealings for your farm are done there. Don't assume that, okay, my left pocket keeps the money for the farm, my right pocket keeps money for, personal uses. You know why I said? Because most of us with small farms, we actually used our money, we used our savings to start these farms. So since we are getting the money from the pockets, it's going to be easy for us to get this money and we divert it for other things or even run other businesses. And the other issue is that most of us have separate businesses, So we are most likely to bootstrap that money for other things. So number one, create a separate account. Number two, pay yourself. Have a fixed salary, at least to reward yourself at the end of the day. You need to reward yourself for your hard work. You're doing work, and that's real work. When you're paying yourself, you realize that, okay, now this is a real business because I'm able to pay myself however much that amount is small. And then the other thing is avoid dipping into the capital. That's straightforward. And then reinvest, and then market smarter, not harder. So back to you. How are you? What are your comments about the topic I have discussed? What's keeping small poultry farmers actually broke? What do you think is keeping them broke at the end of the year? At the end of the day, they are not even able to pay their bills. The business is not even able to sustain itself. There's so many questions. All right. Let me welcome Padez, local poultry farm, Matuga. You're welcome to my live. I thank you so much. I am doing very fine, just trying to find out issues that are making our venture of poultry farming quite difficult and why some people are cursing it. Mularira Hamza, welcome to my live. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for educating us. Oh yeah, you're welcome, but we are all learning together. It's it's a two-way thing. I learn from you, you also learn from me. Let's make sure we are liking this video, because you are watching it live, but some people would want to come back and watch it. So if we like it, it means there's going to be a lot of engagement. It will be recommended to other people, and that's the least you can do for me to support me at this time. So double tap on your screen to like the video. Maria, local poultry farm, Mukono. Hi, sweetheart. Welcome to my live today. Thank you for sparing a minute to be here. Why do you think small poultry farmers are broke? Why do you think they are broke? Why do they still stay small? Why is it so difficult for them to expand? Then data with Tessie. Reinvesting is actually how I pay myself. Really? Okay. I'm learning that today. Do you mind explaining it more? How is reinvesting paying yourself? Can you elaborate on that? Data with Tessie. But I appreciate you for joining us on today's live. Thank you so much. Or is a reality? How do I limit my spending on chicken feed? Good question. That's one of the expenses that you need to record on your farm every minute. How? Of course, we all know there are no shortcuts on when it comes to feeds. There are no shortcuts, but there is a way you can go about it. How? The first one is making sure there is no feed wastage. Make sure your birds are you're measuring every feed that you're giving to your birds. There is no wastage. You know the amount of feeds that your birds are supposed to eat every day on a daily. You measure that feed and then you give them. However, you can also do research around your area and see how people are going about feeds. There are some people who, let's say, who are doing poultry farming in their backyard. If you're doing, let's say, local birds, you can always let them go outside, and then, somehow you cut on their feed expenses. Also, there are people, for example, in Uganda, I just hosted a gentleman who is having a cheaper protein source that is not as expensive as the concentrates that are on market. So I'm telling you, the person who will come up with a solution to expensive feeds, that person will have done a great innovation in our poultry industry. So it's not something you can deal with. There is no shortcuts, but however, you can just try to manage. You can grow your own maize if you have a piece of land. You can also stock your maize when the prices are low. If those ingredients, you can source those ingredients when they are cheaper. When the prices drop, you can actually stock your maize, and so that you can just add on the other ingredients and you'll be able to save something. Okay, this name is difficult to read. Mortgage Dorothy. Let me just go with Dorothy. Hi, Dorothy. Welcome back to today's live. Welcome to today's live. Then I have Marie, local poultry farm, Mari. You're welcome to, yesterday you were here as well. Thank you so much for being here every time we tune in into our lives. And then we have Mularira Hamza. Please like the video. Yes, they should like the video. Thank you so much for the reminder. Guys, let's like this video. It's very important for most of us who are small farmers to know some of these things. Keith 5, Assalamu alaikum, wa alaikum salam. Hi, how are you? Then Dorothy again, I'm still broke because I'm expanding the farm. I use a lot of money. This can happen, but being broke when you're investing is actually different from being broke when you are just spending the money on useless things. So all I can say is just be patient when you are expanding the farm, because when you reinvest into your farm, it means you are getting the bigger flock. The flock is growing bigger. Other expenses are also, getting onto the they are getting into the way. It means, yeah, you're going to be a bit broke, but make sure you have done your proper planning. Make sure you have done the proper planning, so that in the middle of the project, you do not actually run broke and you're forced to sell off your flock. So be calculative. You do not have to actually expand in a big, stance. You can do it in 2 phases. You can do it in 2 phases, maybe. I don't know which birds you're doing, but let's say you're doing broilers. You can say this cycle, let me expand on the number of the birds I'm keeping. The other cycle will be like, maybe let me build another structure, like that, like that. If you feel constrained, kindly don't overstretch yourself, because it's also important to do poultry farming when you are not so stretched, especially financially, because truth is, poultry farming survives on money. If you do not have money, you have kept somewhere, then it's going to be very difficult for you. But on the lighter side, like I mentioned, it's okay to be broke when you are investing, and then you wait for the business to grow. Once it grows and it's stable, yeah, this is just a temporary situation. So hang in there, be disciplined on your expenses. One thing I've learned about entrepreneurship during this process is that when you're taking this journey to financial freedom, there are so many sacrifices you're going to make. And one of them is being patient with being broke. It's one of them. So hang in there, but just do proper planning. We are so many here, and I'm just seeing 8 likes on the video. Guys, don't be so mean with your likes, unless you're telling me you don't like what I'm doing. But if you think it's interesting, just double tap on your screen, and then you will have liked the video. Philemon, you're welcome to today's live. Okay, I'm broke because I've not started as yet. I'm worried about the feeds. You're broke because you've not started as yet. It's okay. As long as your mind is not broke, you're still thinking and you are planning. You're still planning. Yeah, you should worry about the feeds, but if you have not started, then that's good for you. It means you find a solution. If you have a field somewhere, go plant maize. I don't know how you call it in your country. That's the major ingredient in the chicken feeds. Go plant it. If you can actually plant soy, you can also plant it, so that by the time you start, you have actually, you are set to go. You have actually cut down on some expenses. And the good thing is you can actually know how much maize you need to raise a certain number of birds. Poultry farming is so easy to calculate and plan for. So yeah, I hope you get started yet. We are missing your experience in the farming community. Martin, watching from Mombasa, Kenya. Hey, VP. Ozia reality. Some of my chickens are limping. Why? How old are they? It could be maybe calcium. I don't know which birds you're raising. Are they broilers? If they are limping, it means maybe they are lacking some calcium or some vitamin E. So you want to check out. You make sure you check out. Maybe they are too heavy, and if they are too heavy, they will start limping. That means you have to consult a vet and you get some calcium. Okay, broiler, yeah, I know it. That the problem could be is that they are getting heavy and there is less calcium and maybe also vitamin E. So visit a vet and they will be able to give you some solution to that problem. All right, unless you have another comments, but Sami Ganda, thanks for the show. You're welcome. Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. What do you think? What keeps us small poultry farmers broke? That's the topic that we have been discussing. And if you have missed my opinion, you can always go back. The video is still there even after this live has ended. We are so many here, but I have very few likes. Why? Why are you people being so mean with your likes? Just double tap on the screen so that we can, we can have this video have bigger engagement, and that's the only way you can actually support me. One way is by you coming to my lives, and I appreciate that so much. The second way is actually making sure you have actually liked, you have liked this video. The other way, there's somewhere there the message which is saying UGX. You can put some money there. My number is there. I don't know if you've seen it. You can put some money to support my work. I'm doing a lot of work. Can I like twice? Oh, when you like twice, that will be a dislike. Mohire John from Rwanda loves you so much. Oh, thank you so much for the love. Thank you so much for the love. Kindly express that love for me by double tapping on this video so that we can have more engagement. But we also have UGX there. You can support my work by sending me some little money. Badru, walaikum salam, brother. Welcome to today's live. Welcome to today's live. Those of you who are just joining in, you have missed my opinion about why most poultry farmers are broke. So what you have to do is go back and rewatch the video. It's going to be there after I end this live in the next few minutes. For now, I'm just doing these lives for 30 minutes. 15 minutes I present my opinion, then the other minutes are for us to interact. Meron Abed, hello. What I want to ask you, one chicks, how many kilo eating 35? Oh, this is a big question. We need to calculate. I can do this, but I don't have much time here. So what you have to do is just reach out to me, and we will do the calculations together. Okay? Feeding is the big problem, my dear. It is, and the saddest part is that there is no shortcut to that. All you have to do is do proper planning before you start. Do proper, thorough planning. Consider everything, every expense, especially the feeding expense. But it shouldn't really scare you. It's manageable. The most important thing is that after you selling off the birds, you are able to make a profit of that. The topic which we've been discussing tonight. So don't worry about it. Just do the planning. Okay? Mark Mawen from Zimbabwe, thank you so much for your shows. You are welcome. Thank you for tuning in. How is Zimbabwe? Can I give my chicken corn? What do you give them? Because corn, for us we call it maize. It's the major ingredient in the feeds. So yeah, you can give them. You can mix it in with the concentrates and, maize bran and other things, broken maize, and then you give them. Some people, they grow that maize up to a certain level, and then it's like the way you can ferment. But before you plant it, you can put it in the water. As it starts to sprout and bring some leaves, you give it the chickens, depending on how big your flock is. Could you show more of integrated farming? Yeah, I'll consider that. But for now, we are first of all exhausting poultry farming. When I visit a farmer who is doing all of it, I do that. I show more of that. Kindly, we are so many here, guys. Like the video, just double tap on the screen, okay? Dorothy, watching from South Africa. Okay, thank you so much for watching. you have started. That's so good. Just keep learning and educating yourself. I have a lot of content on this channel about poultry farming. You can educate yourself depending on where you are watching from. We don't get enough specialized vets to help us. You're in Rwanda, right? One of these days I should plan a trip to Rwanda. I just want to find out the poultry situation there. I should be thinking of that. Maybe we should get in touch, Muhere, right? What do you think? I just want to know. I don't, there is not much information about poultry farming in Rwanda online, so I don't really know what's happening there. So I'll be closing this live in 5 minutes. If you haven't liked the video, double tap on the screen. Double tap on the screen and then you like this video. But also my number is there. You can support my work, because bringing you these kind of shows, it's also quite expensive, so you can support my work as well. But I thank you so much once again for tuning in. Unless you have anything else to say. Okay, which company the good? Now there's which company to deal with what? Meron, which company? If you're in Uganda, we have most of the companies are okay. Most of the companies are okay, and I can't specify any which is good. So I don't, what did you say where you're doing poultry farming from? Let me see. Meron, you seem to be having lots of challenges. How about you reach out to me and then we can have a proper discussion? I think that would be okay, right? Just reach out to me. We can have a proper discussion and see how best we can help. My WhatsApp number, let me drop it somewhere there. You'll see it on your screen. You'll see my number there. But also be sure that I charge some fee for consultation, not big amount, just a small fee for us to have a proper conversation so that we can all enjoy the experience of poultry farming. Chichoncho Grace, hi dear, hi, how are you? Thank you so much for tuning in today's live. I just finished discussing the fact that small poultry farmers, we remain poor, we remain broke, and we do not grow, and that's a huge problem. So I just gave tips. If you have missed, you can go back and rewatch this video. It's going to be there after this live ends in the next 3 minutes. How much? It's not much. My number is there. Just reach out to me. My WhatsApp number is there. Then I can even tell you how much I charge. Okay, I'm going to wish you a good night. Let's meet tomorrow for another interesting conversation. Okay? All right.